Good morning. It's the last day of September. Beautiful fall, well, early fall morning. About 14 degrees Celsius right now. Beautiful and sunny, but it wasn't like that for the last couple of days. We had pretty torrential rains for a couple of days, the leftovers of Hurricane Florence. Now, we didn't get it anywhere near as bad as our neighbors to the south did, but we got some rain, and actually, I'm very thankful for it. It's been a long, hot, dry summer here in Halifax, and the woods have been tinder dry. And this rain changes everything. Where there had been a fire ban all summer, now I can celebrate and have a fire. So in fact, I packed up 4 of my small wood stoves, ones I have been hoping to get out and test and report back to you, and I'm going to be doing some separate videos on those. But I came into an area of the Blue Mountain Birch Cove Lakes today for a very specific reason. I've been in this area in the past, and I've found some certain mushrooms. Didn't know what they were last year, but I know what they are now, and they're called black trumpet, which is related to the chanterelle. You'll miss them because they're so dark on the forest floor they're hard to see, but they're quite sought after, so I'm very excited to see if I can find those, because that's something else the rain does for us. After the dryness, the rain brings out new mushrooms. So I'm going to be looking for the black trumpets. I'm going to be looking to see if I can find any turkey tail, any birch polypores, well, anything that I can find. If you're interested in seeing what I find as I go along the way, oh, by the way, I've got some new toys, so stay around if you want to see those as well. You know, I've shown some of these scenes before in other videos, but it just never gets old. As soon as I get down to the lake edge here, everything just changes for me. My friend Randall Graham did a video, I think just yesterday, and he was talking about how he has 2 minds, one for the urban environment and one for the wooded environment. And I can certainly relate to that. I live in the city, but I have this wilderness very close at hand. And what a change it makes in the way I feel once I can get out into the woods. I'm sure many of you will appreciate that as well. So I stopped to take a look, and I noticed something I thought I might show you. I think I've probably shown you this before as well, but for those of you who haven't recognized it, this plant that I'm reaching for is sweet gale, or bog myrtle. And you can see the back of the leaf. I'll give you as close up as I can right here. It's serrated at the tip, a lighter green on the back, kind of a spoon-shaped leaf. Little tiny, what look like little tiny cones or nutlets. And what's special about this plant, or what I like it for, is it makes a wonderful cup of tea. You can use the leaves to make tea, you can dry them, you can use them like a spice. Actually, those little nutlets can be dried and used like a spice. Those little nutlets are also used to make wax out of, very much like the bayberries are. In fact, this plant and the bayberry are very closely related. If you come across one of them at the edge of the water, look for the little nutlets. You likely have sweet gale. If you find one in the drier area that looks almost identical, that has blue berries on it, well, that'd be your bayberry. I think I'm going to stop for a few minutes and then move on. So yesterday was National Coffee Day, September 29th. I released a short video where I roasted up some Sumatra coffee. Made myself a cup of coffee with the AeroPress. Well, I have some of that coffee, and take my water off the boil, put some of that coffee in, give it a stir, let it set for a minute. And I'm going to try out my new Cookso that I made. Let me give you a close-up of that. So I promised on my hike that I would show you a couple new toys. Well, toys isn't exactly the right thing, but to a bushcrafter, things like this are toys. So I made a mug. I had posted some of the pictures of this in its various stages on Instagram, and finally finished it up. So it's made from piece of birch that was a little old, slightly spalted, as you can see. It is finished in Food Safe linseed oil, or otherwise known as flaxseed oil. First cooks I ever made, and today will be the first time it's ever been used, and I thought what a better way to christen it than with some nice coffee on the side of the lake here. But let me show you what I made it with, because that's the other two toys that I wanted to share with you. Let me put that down. Other than a saw and an axe to get the rough shape out of the log, a hand-forged spoon gouge made by my good friend Randall Graham. No power tools at all involved in this. Made from W1 steel, refined shape, and it works great. I'm going to be practicing with it on spoons. It worked well enough on the mug, on the cook side. I don't have any reason to think it won't do well for spoons as well. That's one of the toys, or tools, I guess. And the other one is a small Puukko knife, also hand forged by Randall Graham. Completely made without the use of any power tools whatsoever. Just a forge, an anvil, a hammer, some files. It's even fixed into the wood handle the old-fashioned way, in other words burnt in. It's not drilled in or glued in, it's burnt in and fixed in. It has a copper face on it there. Sized it to fit my hand. It's meant to be a user, not so much a carving knife, but it's strong enough to use for virtually any cutting task. It's not real big, but it's big enough. Alright, coffee time. So I guess the one downside of this Cooksa is that it's not flat on the bottom, so I do have to support it with something when I'm pouring the coffee in. Something a little bit bigger than that, I think. Try this. Oh yeah, that'll do fine. So I made this like cowboy coffee, except I didn't actually boil it. I just took it off the boil, so it's just off of the boiling temperature. And what I'm going to do is pour it through the little strainer I have. Try to keep out most of the grounds anyway. That's nice. So I did measure the coffee cup to see how much it would hold, and I didn't get 8 ounces out of it, but I didn't do too bad. I got about 7.5 ounces. First coffee, new Cooksa. Oh, hot. I could. I'll let that cool off a little bit while I have my snack. So my snack is going to be a hard-boiled egg, a chunk of cheese, and then an apple for dessert. A little bit of hot sauce to put on my hard-boiled egg. Well, I didn't have the good fortune that I had hoped to have with mushrooms. I didn't see any of the black chanterelles, or the black trumpets they're called. Didn't see any mushrooms at all. Didn't see any fungus, which is really unusual for this area. I mean, this right now where I'm in is dominated by hardwoods, primarily oaks and maples. But there are some pines and you know, you go through forests where it's a little bit of softwoods and then eventually hardwoods again. But not much of this. This came from Mexico. My daughter brought it back to me, and it is spicy. Very spicy. So I'm going to sit here and enjoy this, but late afternoon now, and I'll have to get back before too long. It's about an hour-and-a-half hike. It's been a good afternoon though. Well, I'm glad I was able to show you at least a couple of things. My new Cooksa, my new knife, my new gouge. And you'll see those again in a lot of videos. A lot of videos I'm expecting. Before I close up though, I'll watch and see if there's anything that's worth showing you in the video, and then we'll close up the video as I get closer to my destination. So I'm at a spot at the north end of Quarry Lake, and there's a brook that flows out of Quarry Lake here, and And that would be it. And somebody has built a nice little stick bridge. Very pretty little spot right now with the light coming through like it is. Okay, so I didn't completely go without finding some kind of a fungus today. Oh, looks like it may have been chicken of the woods. Hard to tell. See if I can get in and look under the gills. Certainly not very yellow at this point. Oh, smooth underside. Let's turn it over. I'll have to take a few pictures of this and upload it to iNaturalist and see what they have to say. Another one on the other side as well. But it looks really old. Well, at least I found something today. So as you can probably tell, it's pretty late afternoon now. The sun is starting to go down towards the west. And it's time I get out of the woods and got home before Mrs. Young's wondering where I'm at. I'm a little disappointed when I came out that I didn't find any of the mushrooms I was looking for, but how can you go home disappointed after a day like this in the woods? Beautiful out here. I'll be back. Okay, I've still got a bit of a hike to go, so I'll say goodbye for now. But don't forget, get out and explore. Take that path less traveled. It will make all the difference. Bye for now.